The following announcement has been paid for by
the ENN Podcast.
He has a good energy, you guys.
Can you feel
Sport.
that excitement?
And also,
Wearing the merchandise, wearing the hats.
Is what I'm seeing for real?
Wild here live from Lincoln Financial. Yeah, come on.
I can't wait till this video's over so I can say its name anymore.
Music.
Wow.
Man, again, and I hate to do this again, but these are deep.
What the hell? What is that? Whoa! What the hell?
And more.
What's his next book gonna be called? I got you, I did not see that coming.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the ENN Podcast. I'm professional wrestler Chris Watt, live from bar 4133. Rocking that Rocky drip, feeling those 5-0 vibes as the Philadelphia Eagles for the second time in 2 seasons go 5-0 to start off something that hasn't been done since the 1991 Buffalo Bills. I hope it's a different and better outcome than those Buffalo Bills had for our Philadelphia Eagles this year. But let's get talking. Look, there's so much that can be said about this football game. Now, the title of this, and obviously people want to hear me talking about Budda Baker because his name is in the title. It's not clickbait. We're going to get to it. And speaking of Budda Baker, speaking of defenses, I got to be honest with you. If you follow me at the Chris Wild on Twitter, I am very, very, very mean to the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And I don't mean to be. It's just, I love the defensive game so much that it infuriates me when I watch some of these things happening. When you see Sam Howell kind of pick apart your defense last week against the Commanders, or this week as Matt Stafford and a coming to life, sitting up like the Undertaker. Cooper Kupp has about 100 yards in the first half, and they drive right down the field. Beautiful drive, touchdown. And the next time they got the ball, another touchdown. I mean, and to me, wide open Cooper Kupp. You've got guys like Mario Goodrich and Nicholas Moreau on Cooper Kupp. I said those names to you last year. You'd say, what are you talking about? There's no way the Eagles are going to be 5-0, 4-0, 3-0, 2-0, or even 1-0 if you have that scenario. But that's what we were looking at. The nickel corner position was it was a turnstile. Finally, they let, in the second half, Bradley Roby take over. He was on the street. He was playing Madden. He was sitting on his couch last week, but he did a decent job. Looked kind of slow, but hey, man, like I said, he was on the couch last week. My issue is also with safety. Now, the Eagles' safety position is kind of a mess, right? Like, we all love Reed Blankenship. I think the kid is awesome. I think he's on the field. He makes a difference. The kid can tackle. He's always around the ball. He knows what he's doing. But other than that, who do we have? I mean, Sidney Brown's a rookie, and he's injured. Terrell Edmonds looks slow and terrible. Justin Evans seems like just a guy. And other than that, there's no one else there. There's nobody else there, which is why I am begging Howie Roseman, and I will get to the rest of the game, I promise, but I am begging Howie Roseman. You watch the 49ers, who are a tremendous team, and they were already a tremendous team before this trade was made. You see them last year go out and get Christian McCaffrey because they knew they were close. They knew that they were just this close and the window was open. This year, a guy like Randy Gregory, who does not want to be on Denver, Denver's paying his salary this year, gets traded to the Niners. Another just solid player. The Eagles have a need. And I'll even mention the Miami Dolphins getting Chase Claypool, just taking a shot at him to make their wide receiver room a little bit better. The Eagles have an obvious need at safety, and the Arizona Cardinals have a guy that does not want to play there. He is on the IR, kind of like Jonathan Taylor was, because, look, does he maybe have a little hammy? I don't know. Do I think that he's injured legit for 5-6 weeks? No. He's on the IR. He gets off on week 7. Budda Baker would make so much sense on this football team. And it's not just because the Eagles need a safety, because they can probably trade for some other safety. The passion that you see this guy bring in the locker room, the fact that he's tired of losing, the fact that he'd be coming to Philly, which is a big market. Budda Baker is a big market player. This makes all the sense in the world, especially when you've got a terribly hard stretch of games. We've all heard about it ad nauseum. Buffalo, Kansas City, Miami, Dallas, which I don't think is going to be that hard, to be honest with you. San Francisco, you've got, and these are smart teams that are going to figure out how to beat you, and they have the personnel to beat you. Getting a guy like Budda Baker on this football team, I think it would make a world of difference. And I'm saying this, and we're 5-0. So let's talk about 5-0. Let's talk about the offense and the fact that people are saying Jalen Hurts looked like old Jalen Hurts. It's funny that people said that he could not run the football anymore. Oh, he looks different. Is he hurt? Is he this? No, he's smart. The kid is a smart. One of the biggest things, Jalen Hurts, gym guy, fast, strong, all of those things. His biggest weapon is his brain. This dude watched a great year last year, almost get completely ruined, and he played in the Super Bowl hurt, so who knows, maybe it was, because he took an unnecessary shot, because he was running the ball too much, and took a shot in Chicago that tore his shoulder up. He doesn't want that to happen. The guy doesn't. He knows you got A.J. Brown, you got Devontae Smith, you got Dallas Goedert. We'll talk about him in a minute. DeAndre Swift. You don't need to run like you did. You don't. But when it's there, you take it, and he absolutely did in L.A. and took some. If you see some of those hits, man, like most quarterbacks probably wouldn't survive them. So I don't want to see him running all the time. I brought up Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert, first 4 games of the season, 88 yards, has over 100 yards receiving this week, and just look like an absolute monster. He's up for the Angry Runs Scepter Award this week. Awesome. Thank you, Truck. Speaking of Truck, he was trucking, dude. He was absolutely throwing guys around, punched a dude in the face. He was an absolute monster, an absolute weapon that he can be, and just something else for the Eagles to add to their arsenal that they haven't had this year. We talk about the offense. I thought the offense looked good. Now, look, only 23 points. If you're not watching the game, you're going, it's only 23 points. If you're watching the game, they're in the red zone 6 times. Now, this is an issue. 6 times, 1 touchdown. Can't happen, guys. You've got to shore this thing up. To me, again, it's not the talent. The talent's there. The talent is there. I saw an interesting stat about when DeAndre Swift gets the carries in the red zone compared to Kenny Gainwell. That might be something they want to look into. But the talent is there. Get it together. Starting this week in New York on that terrible turf, it just nightmares of this team going up there and playing. But it's got to happen. It's got to happen now because, again, you're going to face teams that are going to be able to outscore you. Now, speaking of outscoring, again, and I'm going back to the defense here. I said everything I need to say about the offense. A.J. Brown, absolutely awesome game again, 127 yards. This dude's a beast. He's a freaking monster. DeAndre Swift, keep giving him the ball. When he has the ball in his hands, things happen. They just do. The kid's electric, can break one at any moment. Just the offensive line, again, another good game. Now, there were some emotions on the sideline because there were some false starts. Some things weren't working out. I like to see that. These guys care. They're undefeated, and every little thing still means so much to them. I like that. Jalen throws a bad interception. Nick is getting on his ass. I like seeing that stuff. I just do because this team cares. Again, they're not the Dallas Cowboys who blow out a team and then the next week they're smelling themselves so much that then they get blown out. This team cares. They understand what is at stake because they were there last year. I gave Sean Desai so much shit. I gave him so much shit because I just thought this was going to be – I thought the Rams were going to score over 30. I thought that the offense couldn't kick field goals, that they couldn't punt the ball. They had to score a touchdown every drive. That was my thinking because I didn't think the defense was going to be able to stop Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Coming out of the second half, looked like a different defense. The Rams only scored 14 points on the day. Only had like over 100 yards in the second half. I mean, the defense absolutely did their thing, and it all started with that defensive line. The pressure that, and again, your defensive line without Fletcher Cox, without Tuli Tulalabalopo, I can't say his name, still won't. Jalen Carter, rookie, absolutely took over. 2 big-time sacks. And then how about Hassan Reddick? I mean, we've been waiting for it all year. We have been waiting for Hassan Reddick to show back up. And man, did he. 2 huge sacks back-to-back to close out the game. The defensive line absolutely did their thing. The linebackers, again, were a little bit light at that spot. But what Zach Cunningham and even Nicholas Moreau have done back there, I mean, it's commendable. They haven't fallen apart. Moreau has kind of been playing out of his mind. He should have had a fumble recovery, and he should have had an interception last game. He did not, but you're definitely, again, moving forward, you're going to need to make those plays. The secondary was what it was, man. I mean, it just was what it was. Puka Nacua had one of the touchdowns in the first half. Just good coverage by Bradbury, but Nacua I think is really good. Slay got caught up a little bit. But the secondary, again, you've lost Devontae Maddox. It is what it is right now. I think it's good enough, especially when that line is doing what it's doing. But if you get a guy like Budda Baker in here at safety, oh, man. It just, to me, man, like, it's a need. And if it's not Budda Baker, you got to get somebody in here. You got to get another safety in here. Someone that is capable. There's got to be a guy on a team that doesn't want to be there. Again, the window is open this year. The window is open this year. And you're going to, look, this is an offensive game. I understand that. The Eagles have their offensive weapons. Could maybe use another wide receiver. But let's get something to shore up this defense, because that is what is going to ultimately help us win. So I think I covered everything, guys. With that being said, there is an audio version of this podcast. It is a little bit different, a little bit shorter. You can catch that on Spotify right now. I'm going to move it to other platforms as time goes on. It's just like this podcast. It is about absolutely everything, and we're talking about that. I've loved the name ENN. I've loved the ENN, the Eagles News Now podcast. I've loved that name. I think it's time to evolve. I think it's time to change, to maybe name it something else, since I talk about a little bit of everything. As of, obviously, for the past few weeks, it's just been football. But there are movie reviews, there are music reviews, there is wrestling on this channel, and I like to be able to talk about anything. When I do live streams, we've talked about men's mental health, we've talked about mental health, we've talked about everything and anything. So if anybody has any idea of a new name, please feel free, as I am still brainstorming on the rebranding. Well, the Eagles, again, next home game, a little bit rebranding with the Kelly Green, but we're going to talk about that later. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, go Birds. I'll see you later.